name is Dolores Canales, and I'm with California Families to Abolish Solitary Confinement. I am a mother of a prisoner that has been held in solitary confinement for 13 years. And what happened for me on July 1st, 2011 was life-changing. That was the day that the prisoners initiated the first hunger strike in the series of the last 3 that have taken place. I didn't know what to do, and I wanted some answers, and I wanted my son to eat. That's why I got involved. I was trying to figure out where to go. I lived in Southern California. I was thinking of going to San Francisco because they had a lot of activities. And then the night before the hunger strike, I saw that there was going to be an event at the Christ African Spiritual Center. So I went there. And at that day, they were asking me if I wanted to speak, and I said no, I wanted answers, like I said. And at that day, I was the only family member there. And so I was listening to everybody getting on the podium, and I was sitting there, and I thought, nobody's saying the 5 core demands. I did hear a lot of, talk about a lot of very important issues, but nobody was speaking out on the unity, the solidarity of the prisoners, of where the power came from. For decades, prisoners fought against each other. They had predestined, instilled, developed by a system that said, you must hate this human being because of the color of their skin. You must hate this human being because of where they live. And the prisoners fell for it, therefore creating their own oppression, playing a role in it, giving power to a system that divides, to separate families, destroy communities, and keep us separated. That was the power. So when these prisoners came together in unity, black and brown and north and south and white, coming together to say we will not take this any longer. We will come together and we will speak out. And they initiated a hunger strike that spread across the state of California. Thousands and thousands of prisoners joined in. And there became the power of the prisoner. There became the power of the message. There became the power that has given every activist a platform. I never used to see half the names in articles until the efforts of the hunger strike. All prisoners. I am here for the prisoner. All of them. That have been decades long in solitary confinement, but when you look at where it all began, when you look at the fact of 10-year-olds getting their name put into a gang database, when you look at the fact that they don't need evidence to convict a person, they talk you into taking a plea bargain, when you look at the fact of the destruction of the communities and the families and how far it's gone and how we play a role in our own oppression, because we as family members should be speaking out. We should be speaking strong. We should be like that lioness that wants to protect their cub. We should be that person that is willing to stand in the gap. But you know what? We've been silent. Listen to this. We've been silent because we've been afraid of retaliation. While our loved ones have sat for 30 years in solitary confinement, how much more retaliated can you be against? How much more can one suffer? So by our silence, even as family members, we've caused that oppression. We've caused that suffering. And let me tell you, I was watching Blackfish. I don't know if any of you got to see Blackfish with the whales and how the baby whales, how they stayed with their family the whole time. And I was watching how we as a society thrive because of the money, the power, the greed. We thrive on destroying communities, destroying families, from animals to people. I was watching that mother whale screaming all night as they videoed her when they took her baby. And I thought, how many mothers have cried years, night after night after night, because they've taken our babies? I know I spent 20 years in the system, and I know that my family cried, because when I used to call home, they used to tell me, they've been so worried about me, and they used to cry, and they used to pray, and they used to have faith that things were going to change. And now I'm crying, and I'm praying, and I'm having faith that things are going to change. And when I hear the activists and the advocates speaking out, that they've suffered this for decades long, and I see the efforts of the prisoners. This last hunger strike, they went 59 days without eating. The numbers dropped, but you know what? Their efforts did it. Those that held on for the 59 days, I commend them. My own son only went 18 days, and even then I was suffering every single day of that. And then even after the 18 days, I continued to suffer because as I've come along family members and gotten to know them, I would not have been able to bear the fact of somebody else losing their loved ones, starving starving to death for our cause. But that's what it's taken. It's taken a movement and the efforts from within of suffering. Their peaceful, their non-violent demonstration has suffered repercussions, retaliation, and discipline. They're receiving serious rules violations report for this. Immediately when they started the hunger strike, the system, they went onto the yard, and anyone on the yard that was participating in the hunger strike, they were taking all their property, they were moving them, they were doing everything they could to break them down, to destroy their efforts at unity. And I will tell you that when I went in July 2011 to the African Science Community Center, I was in South Central Los Angeles. And so, like I said, I was alone at that time, but quickly we grew. I was alone at that time, and I went to go get me something to eat, and I walked up into a group of black men, and I started to tell them about the hunger strike and the people coming together. And I remember one guy, they were very, very nice to me, but one guy looked at me and he said, blacks and Southern Hispanics ain't never going to get along. Well, I'm here to tell you they are getting along inside the prison system. So what we need to do is make this grow outside so that we're no longer, so their jails won't be put to use, so their cells won't be put to use. That gang database, throw it on out the window as they inflict gang injunctions that are similar to martial law. But I never knew any of this, and I myself spent 20 years in the system because I accepted it as a way of life, is that's just the way it is. And now, though, my eyes have been opened to so much, to how it all began. Even as the gentleman was speaking about the FBI incidents, and I told Margaret, I said, I think I'm getting freaked out sitting here, listening to all these stories, and I just got to be honest, I remember when I first got involved, Manuel Lafontaine called me up and he says, you know they're going to come after you. And I said, but I'm not doing anything wrong. What do you mean? Like, for once in my life, I'm living a legal lifestyle, But I understood his point. And there's times that I sit there and at my house and I hear so many stories and everything, and there's times that I sit at my house and I think, what will I say if they come? I've been waiting for you. I don't know, But as scary as it is sometimes, I can't stay frozen in fear. I have to walk out of faith because we've waited too long and our loved ones have suffered too much. And so one thing that Gil Sullivan, he's a parole officer, one thing that he shared one time, I was hearing him speak, that during the Ice Age, the FBI had nothing to do, so therefore they began targeting gang members and labeling them as terrorists, and then it took on a whole new, they started implementing things that like the RICO Act and different laws to keep them busy, to give them something to do. And I heard this, straight from an officer's, from him speaking. So, when I put all that together and I hear the different people sharing and speaking, and I realize, just so much of the connections. But we are a growing group, and I'm very, very honored to be here today. I thank you for your support. Some of our next step efforts are, we are going to be working on a lawsuit and then also legislative measures. We're trying to bring some things into legislation to put a cap on solitary confinement, but as I said before, and I even shared this at the hearing, you can change solitary confinement, you can make it go away, or you can make a pretty new and improved solitary confinement, but the fact still exists of all these people that they are putting in prison, all these people that they are labeling. When you are taking somebody, off the streets, they get arrested, all of a sudden they're in our prison system, and in our prison system they become a murderer, a notorious gang member, gang leader. What is that system creating? Those are the questions we need to ask. This system is causing more problems than good. It is not the solution, it's the problem. And it is destroying families and communities, and enough mothers, enough fathers, enough family members have cried out day after day, long enough. Thank you very much.